It's tough to listen to that song and not have a smile on your face, huh? Wow, it's been a little while since I've heard that song. I hope I put a smile on your faces this morning. Um, Anybody want to just share something, another reason why you might be smiling, something positive going on in your life? Somebody have a share? James, I will challenge you. Got whatever you did there, man. You had some fun thing going on with your hair, and you let it go, and it was making me smile. So I wanted you to keep it.
That's Mr. Low Grade Technology fiddling around with the buttons and making a big mistake. Oops.
Oh no, it was a great mistake.
But it made me laugh too. Maybe I'll put it back on there.
Yeah, get it back on there.
Okay. All right, just for you then.
Let
me see if I can do it again.
See if you can get it going for me.
Let's see.
While James is fiddling with his non-tech self, nobody's got to share? Our lives are that miserable? Come on. Somebody's got to have something. There's Glarius jumping in. Best smile for headshot, man. I love that smile when your headshot pops up. We got some other good smiles on there, but... All right, well, let's get into the reason why I'm playing that song today, outside of it just being what a great feel-good song to start us up. The topic for today, anybody ever heard of the blue dot effect? The blue dot effect? Give me a raise of hands if you're aware of this. There it is, James. Let's go. Keep it, buddy. Keep it. That's awesome.
I will.
All right. Yes. All right. So blue dot effect. I'm not aware of this. I'm sharing and learning as we go here. I'm not living my life by this, but discovered by researchers at Harvard University here. And it demonstrates how our perception of threats or problems expands as the actual prevalence of those things declines. So they basically what they did is they asked participants to identify blue dots from a range of colors between blue and purple. So they're flashing them on the screen. And they decreased the frequency of those blue dots. Yet the people would still keep finding just as many blue dots, right? Even though there weren't as many. They started to see maybe some of the purple ones as blue dots, etc. And so they kind of extended the effect to see, does this affect other aspects of our lives? And one of the areas that they looked at was that it wasn't limited to just color, extended to identifying threatening faces, right? So they were showing people that had maybe a frown on their face or appeared to be, what we would call threatening, and they would show those faces. And then they slowly started to just give neutral looking faces, and people were reporting the same amount of threatening faces, as they're popping up on the screen. And so, kind of the broader implications is we do this in life, right? Where we might seem like our lives aren't improving, even though they are, because we're just constantly finding the same amount of negatives in them. I think I definitely do this. My life is significantly better, I would think, than it was years ago. I've been working hard, I've been making strides, but yet I still find things to complain about every day or feel like I'm not making progress. So this is definitely affecting me. And I had never heard of this. So some examples, you're complaining about a minor scratch on a newly painted wall rather than appreciating the overall fresh look. We're finding that one imperfection. Feeling unsatisfied with a kitchen renovation because the cabinet handles aren't looking exactly the way that you wanted. They weren't your first choice. This one was particularly interesting. Becoming frustrated with a 5-minute delay in a ride-sharing service, forgetting the days when, man, how long would it take to get a taxi? Right? So these little things, we kind of keep this level set of always trying to find what's going wrong, right? That was kind of how we developed over the years, right? We got to be looking for that next threat. And this blue dot effect, it's pretty interesting. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that it goes on to. I talked about the neutral faces, and something as interesting as like you making a comment, a friend of yours giving a neutral face reaction, and you taking that as they reacted negatively, even though their face was neutral, right? Or you've got a group of people, 6, 7 people, you got a bunch of neutral faces, maybe even some positive ones, but you're noticing the one person who's giving you the negative, right? Who didn't react positively to it. And then it pulls us down. So, I just threw into Chat GPT, what are some techniques to mitigate this blue dot effect? And here's what it gave me. Practice gratitude, regularly reflecting and writing down those positive things, right? Slowing down. What are you grateful for? Remember, like, there's so much shit for us, for most of us, man. I've been worrying about the negative stuff when we got so much positive, but our brains are hardwired to do this. So we've got to unwire them. We've got to do these little things. Mindfulness meditation, breath practice, cognitive reframing, consciously reframing your negative thoughts into more balanced perspectives. For example, seeing the delayed flight as an opportunity to relax rather than a major inconvenience. Setting realistic expectations. We've talked about that before. My journey to that car dealership, just low expectations going in, and then limiting exposure to negativity, reducing consumption of negative news and social media that can amplify perceived problems. I don't know if anybody saw, but they are trying to pass a law, who knows how far this is going to make it, that is going to put cigarette label or cigarette type warnings on social media. Just like, hey, these cigarettes can be bad for your health. They are pushing right now to get that kind of a warning onto social media before you can use it, which will be interesting to see how far this makes it. But I think an easy argument can be made that social media is significantly more harmful to your health than a pack of cigarettes. So who's got some thoughts on this? Anybody thinking of an area of their life that it's affecting? Or an example of when you did this? Nobody. Well, hopefully at least it is. James, what do you got?
Well, I guess that just the general idea of you talking about gratitude was the word that jumped out to me. And this is so basic, and I believe everybody on the call has probably read plenty of books, and looked at lots of inspirational stuff that encourages that kind of thought process. But I think that how you start your day is the key. And if you are in a mindset of giving, it's incredibly powerful if you can get more of that into your life, particularly to start a day. I've noticed in the last 5 or 6 years that being on a mission to sort of change that dynamic in my life, that it all begins in that I call the time period between 6 and 9 a.m. before the noise of the world comes in. I call that bliss, BLISS. I put it on my calendar, and that's time for walking, meditation, whatever it is that people do, prayer, and it's an opportunity, not a guarantee. It's an opportunity to save that space for it, not to jump into work, not to look at the emails, not to think about how much money you're going to make today or anything, but to think positively for other people. And I used to click onto the news instead. And by the time I watched 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes of CNN or whatever it might be, my whole brain was toxic. And it just sent the day in a completely different direction.
Yeah, it's a great share. And, I've been on this mission for a while of just kind of controlling what's coming into my brain. And I think, especially first thing in the morning. So great share. Margaretta, you had your hand up.
I do.
Yeah, a mistake.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was on. Oh, I'm sorry. I have so much to
No
say,
worries.
but I will refrain today. Thank you.
I did write down a couple of areas where I think this could affect us in real estate. So client satisfaction, recognize that clients might amplify small little issues in a property. How often does that happen, right? It's like, come on, man, this thing's got 8 out of the 10 boxes and you're worried about the 2. It's the blue dot effect, right? It's the blue dot effect. So how do we handle those? I think, the best agents can really handle those situations. When those things come up, hey, no problem. Yep. This isn't the kitchen you were hoping for, but man, the street, the location, the size, the bedrooms, the basement, all of this stuff is right what you were looking for. Maybe helping them appreciate some of the improvements that have been made versus some of the minor inconveniences that might come with that property. I think the blue dot effect could affect some negotiations, right? You do the repair requests and there's a couple of small issues that come up and they're blowing it out of proportion. We've seen this, right? I think the best agents are really good at those situations, handling those conversations, bringing out the positives. And then just, the stress that comes along with this job, the ups and the downs and everything. You can really get down on yourself and you can get into some dips on the roller coaster in this business. And just knowing, having it written down somewhere that there are dips in this business. No matter how good you are at prospecting every day or trying to stay to your schedule or whatever, there are going to be times where you are flying high in real estate. And there are going to be times where you're like, I can't put a goddamn deal together. My clients hate me. I've got the worst clients. The market sucks. All of it. Right. And so, you can do some things to mitigate this stuff, but I think it's easier to just go, this is the business. Shit's going to go wrong today. Deals are going to fall apart. I know that that's going to happen. I've been trying to work with my kids on this in their sports, not getting so frustrated at volleyball, especially. Like, it's every play, somebody makes a mistake before the thing's over. Somebody hits the ball out or didn't make their spike or whatever. And so it's like, you've constantly got to reset and go, all right, next ball, next point. Here we go. Right. So you go into a volleyball match knowing you're going to make dozens of mistakes. Like, it's going to happen. So don't get upset when a mistake happens. We knew going in that mistakes were going to happen. Right. And so it's the same thing with our business. We know it's never going to be consistent. So, any other thoughts on that part? All right. Well, let's transition over to real estate. Does anybody have a share and a deal that's going on that would be beneficial to the group? Martin.
So mine's more of a question. So I have somebody's interested in a proper land in Ware, and I've called the building commissioner and all that just to find out what's the minimum amount of land needed to build on, and left several messages. Just wondering, does anybody know anything about building in Ware?
So you're just not getting anything back, Martin, from the town?
Correct. I've been trying to get a hold of them since last probably Thursday. Called them every day. Still, all I get is a voicemail. Have yet to hear back. I don't know if they're on vacation or what.
Yeah, so obviously smaller towns, this can be an issue where, the person that's responsible for that can be on vacation. One thing that I found helpful in this is calling up. So, hey, you're calling let's say the building department, call some other departments, call tax, call, whatever, the town office, call something unrelated and just be like, hey, just try to get a hold of somebody to be like, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of this. Is there somebody else that I might be able to talk to? Would be my first recommendation. Other thing, like, if you really, really need an answer, try and find some new builds that happened recently. Maybe some land that sold and try and contact builders, try and contact listing agents that rep that land, right? So, hey, what are the last 6 pieces of land that sold? See if you can call the listing agents, see if they might know anything. Lauren, you got your hand up.
Yeah, so Ware's in itself is a little bit of a funny town. I know that like the town admin is also your town clerk, is also your town tax person. It's one woman who runs many offices there. And then there is, like you're saying, a builder, but they are like 2 people that run all the offices in the entire town. And they can be very difficult to get hold of. Sometimes if you just show up at the office there, you'll run into somebody. You almost never getting somebody on the phone. Also, online, they do have pretty good resources for Ware. So if you're going to like the town website, you'll be able to find like your town bylaws and things like that. And a lot of it is outlined in there. Just also pointing out that it's not just about the size of the lot, right? So it's also knowing what your street frontage is, and all those additional things that go into building. So make sure you're not focusing just on the size of the lot that you are looking at.
And Martin, I know you're new to Rovi, but we do have a Zendesk article about typical steps involved in buying land. I would highly recommend that you take a look at that. It'll bring up, all the different little things like the frontage, like the size of the lot, like the type of electricity that they might have access to, stuff about perking and water sewer. So it's a good little article that we've been adding to over the years. Anybody else have any other suggestions for Martin? I guess the other thing, Martin, is you can always make the offer and try and negotiate the deal subject to it being a buildable lot. Right. So
I did mention that to the buyer already,
Yeah.
because it was perked already. So I asked for a copy of the perk test, but of course they don't have it because it was done years ago. So it's just, there's a lot of things about, it's the smallest lot they have. Because I did look in the past, what has sold, and everything has been at least twice as bigger than this particular lot. So that's my concern.
Okay. And the listing agent's telling you it's a buildable lot?
Yeah, but like I said, I take everybody for, I can't take them for their word.
Yep. Did you ask, how do you know that it's a buildable lot?
I did text her on that. I never got a response, like same thing with the perk test. First she had a copy, now she doesn't have a copy. So
Okay. Just asking, hey, you put this a buildable lot, how do you know? Oh, I'm referencing this bylaw for the town of Ware or whatever that says, you got to have this frontage and this size, or, could be
Your
something there.
public record might also tell you what it's labeled as, might give you a little bit of extra insight there, right? Is it a residential developable lot recognized by the town?
it is residential. According to public record.
Yeah. Pat Catra, you had your hand up.
Oh, I didn't know if he had checked the actual, like, where he probably has a website saying what their minimum frontage is, their minimum, but without a survey and a perk test, and I mean, is there electric, like, you don't even know if there's electricity on it. Is there, do you have to, there's so many steps with land.
Yeah.
I don't know. You really got to get a hold of that. I mean, sometimes actually going to the town office may help you. Like, just go there and be like, hey, I've been trying to get a hold of you guys I wouldn't start the conversation with that, but you've been trying to get a hold of them for 4 days or whatever, for a week, then just go there, show up, see what's going on. Like, is there one lady, But although, like, land lots are such a pain, in my opinion, but could be worth it in the end. The deal's a deal.
KB.
Yeah, just a quick Google search on the Ware website. They do have by year the town of Ware zoning bylaws. And there is a couple different sections in here that goes through what the required frontage is for different situations. So I would probably say start there. But I think the biggest thing for me is it's amazing that you're going and doing this work for your client, but we really want to make sure that we're instructing them to do some of this research on their own, right? Because you don't want to relay something and it maybe be incorrect and then them hold you liable for that. So I would look through the different years of bylaws, and then I would forward that over to your buyer so that they can educate themselves and have them be the ones who goes to the town and looks into what is what they can do with that specific lot, or what they may need if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, we never want to say, hey, I talked to the town, and even I talked to Amy over at the town hall and she said we're good, right? Like, we never want to do that. Hey, I talked to Amy, she says we're good. Here's Amy's number. I'd like you to talk to her, try and get yourself something in writing from the town, right? Because Amy could not be working there in 3 months, and then your buyer buys and no matter what we're trying to find out. When we're talking with the town, we don't want to just say, hey, I don't want to do the work or the legwork. Do a little bit of the legwork. Hey, I talked to this person, here's their information, I'd like you to verify. Lori.
Another thing that is huge on this is making sure what your client wants to actually build on the lot, and if it's even possible. So lots of times I'll have people who want to build go directly to the architect that draws out like the plans of the design of the house that they want to build. It's about $300. They go sit with this architect, they pull up a computer, and they make buildable plans of a house they want. For example, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch with a 2-car attached garage, right? So now they have the house that they're wanting to build. Will it work for the land? Who knows? Is there freaking wetlands on it? Like, you need to find this shit out. I had someone who wanted to purchase land, and I stressed and stressed and stressed. Like, is there wetlands? Where can you place this house? What kind of house do you want to place on the land? So I had them go draw up plans. And then I said, can you afford the house you want to build on this footage? And we're like, we don't want to spend over on the actual house. Guess what? What they wanted to build, we have that on this. Like, is there any like restrictions on the land? Have them talk to a builder about what they want to do. If it's not in like the greens where they have all their shit set up already. Like Pat was saying, can you even bring electricity to this plot? Great, they have a perk test and it can be good for many years, but like, they need to get their hands on that. Will the ground even perk now? Because the ground changes over time. Like, there's so many freaking pieces to this. Like, what do they want to build on this land? Do they want to build a ranch? Do they want to build a colonial? Can they? How much is it going to cost per square foot? Like, there's so many details in this. Do they have plans drawn up on the house that they want to build? Have they spoken to a builder at all? Like, what are they going to do with this land?
Great share. Anybody have any other questions or things to add about the land?
No. Happy birthday, Lori.
Oh, we got
29. Woohoo!
Again and again.
Yeah. That's great. Well, Myron,
Thank you,
hopefully,
everybody.
yeah, hopefully there's some good nuggets in there for you, man. Great question. We got 5 left here. Who else has got something?
I got 2 offers
I'll tell you
accepted
something.
today.
Oh, geez. Hello. There's your birthday present. Can you talk anything unique on either one, Lori? Long time on the market, new to market? Just give a quick synopsis of what happened.
Well, one of them is very unique in the sense that my folks have lived there since the home was built, so it's unbelievably sentimental to them. They were very intense with putting cameras up all over the house, which was insane. During the open houses, I did 3 of them. They kept rapid fire texting me because they could hear and see everything. I felt like I was on an HGTV show personally, and I had the sellers commenting to me as moment to moment, which was very stressful. So I decided to not respond and just do my thing and be myself and do my job. And then after I would go back after they rapid fire texted me all these crazy things like they're looking in the basement at this part. Tell them that this pipe is this. That's not old. They keep saying like it was insane. Insane. So I got through it.
Let me interrupt you there because this is a unique thing. If nobody's dealt with this, we've got to disclose anytime people have video cameras up
Oh,
on
I
our
had
property.
signs
We've
all
got to
over the
make sure.
place. I printed that
Okay.
sheet that we have that says like you may
Yeah.
be recorded, and I put like 4 of them out because I was like, I don't want to hit
Yeah.
some kind of trouble with this because it was the most intense recording situation I've ever been in. So I literally felt like I was on TV. So you know, and
Yeah.
even folks coming through were like, "Whoa, what's up with the cameras?" And I was like, "Look, they're just very much, you know, it was very intense. I'm talking everywhere, like they were watching me like a show." And it wasn't so much me that they felt uncomfortable about. They were just so nervous about people in their house, which, hey, look, it's their house, whatever they want to do. It's not my house. I will comply. I just am trying to get this house sold for them. So I did have a lot of folks who were like, you know, really uncomfortable with it and making comments during the showings like, why are there so many cameras? This is so weird. And I just said, I don't know. They're just very, you know, diligent on security. And they're like, are there break-ins here? I'm like, I'm not aware of any break-ins. You are more than welcome to call the police station and find out yourself, but I'm not aware of any that have happened here. That was a very intense situation. The offers that I had, we priced a little too high, and I knew that we did, and I warned them about it. And I told them that if, you know, the market's going to tell us after the weekend, and if we don't get an offer in, the market's telling us we priced too high. I think if we priced where I thought we should, we would have had like 8 to 10 offers. We wound up with 2 that were right at asking because that's where we were. You know what I mean? So they were both competitive. One was a VA loan, and you know, I thought the house could comply with VA easily. It was in excellent condition. And I had the conversation with them prior to, you know, getting offers. Look, we're probably going to get first time home buyer. We're probably going to get VA. This house can comply with all of that. I don't see any issues. I mean, it's pristine here. So they were scared of the VA loan. So I kind of just told them, look, if I thought it wouldn't work here, I would, you know, tell folks VA isn't going to work here, but it can. So the offer was a little bit high. I couldn't find comps for it. The VA one, and then the other one was conventional, waiving all inspections and everything, which was kind of what we needed because I couldn't imagine going through an inspection with, because of course they wanted me there with cameras everywhere. It would have been so intense. So the VA offer, they couldn't really do much of a gap. The other folks could. And so that's pretty much where it landed, was the gap coverage. Because the comps I had, we were really at the tippity top. So, you know, I felt like we really needed that gap coverage. So I finally got it executed this morning. I'm like, hallelujah. And the other one was pretty cut and dry. They're experienced, and this is their 5th house. They move around a lot. And it was like, I was working with folks who could do this, you know, they've done it so many times. So it made it nice and easy for me, which was nice because, you know, there's a lot of tough ones. So I'll take a smooth, pretty simple one here and there, right?
Yeah, it's always nice to get a little bit easier one. None are easier, or none are easy, but maybe a little bit easier. So I'll circle back one last time because I think that the thing that's kind of unique about the whole thing was the cameras. Did anybody else have any other question on the cameras and how Lori handled it and all of that? Okay. Well, some pretty cool stuff today. I appreciate you guys, you know, sharing everything. Some definitely some details and some unique situations that came out today. So great contribution from everybody. Have yourselves an awesome Tuesday, and we will talk to you again tomorrow morning. Take care.